Flosstube, I'm Annie and I'm the proper stitcher, and this is Flosstube number 15. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, thank you for joining us today. This is a channel where I like to talk about cross stitch, some quilting, and hopefully give you some inspiration to finish some projects or finally finish some projects that you have piling up and you just haven't pushed through and finished them for whatever reason. I have often found that people are afraid to finish their projects because they're worried that it's not going to be perfect. So I like to say that I would rather have a finished project than a perfect project. So just stick around and let's jump right into everything. I want to first say thank you all so much for praying for my sister Lisa. If you're new, my sister Lisa was diagnosed with lung cancer in February, and she began chemotherapy and radiation at the end of April. For 6 weeks, she had chemo and radiation treatments. And they had new PET scans taken last week, and she got the news on Friday from her oncologist that 2 of the 3 of the mass are completely gone from her lung. The third one is significantly smaller to the point where it is not even classified as cancer. So right now they are just going to continue with her immunotherapy treatments, which is once a month for the next year. They will do new scans in 6 months, but as of now, it looks like the chemotherapy and the radiation were very effective, and Lisa and Dan are just relieved. Of course, we all are, but they wanted me to let you all know, thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers. We have had people all over the world praying for Lisa, and I am a firm believer in the power of prayer, and I just want to say thank you so much. Please continue to keep her in your prayers and for continued success with her treatments and continued clear scans. So that is extremely good news that we got last week. Last weekend, I also had my sister-in-law come in for a visit. She lives in North Carolina, and we haven't seen her since before the COVID shutdown or lockdown. So we were so thrilled to see her. Matthew's sister, her name's Jennifer, and we invited her to come in town. We haven't seen her in a while, but she came in to stay with us for the weekend and to visit visit their mom, who is in memory care unit near us. So she came in to, just because she hasn't seen her in a year and a half, she wanted to see her mom. So it was so nice to have her in town. So what else did we do this weekend? That was a busy weekend, but my son's continuing with his cross-country practice. That's every morning at 7:30. So those are some early days for us. My daughter has the ACT again this Saturday, so please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. She does have test anxiety, so we're hoping for a good day of test taking for her. And I got a new phone, so I'm hoping to have better quality videos and photos to share with you all. And I've been busy with cross stitching, and I have some finishes to share with you. So let's just jump right in. I want to go over some previous finishes. Someone recommended that I pull out some of my previous finishes to share with you, since I am on a no haul pause for a few months with Kim Gavlik. We decided to kind of rein it in and not buy as much stash and haul as we have been, because we all know that we have too much as it is, but I put a pause on everything. We did make an exception that we added an addendum to our contract that we can add Blackbird designs to that our stash and to our haul if we see something that we have to have or want, or something that that's been on our wish list. And that's actually something I would recommend to any of you. If there is a Blackbird design pattern that you want and you've had your eye on it, you might want to go ahead and pick it up. Nobody knows. I have not heard what will happen if with future distribution or of patterns. So anyway, with that being said, let's just jump right into previous finishes. So I have Christmas previous finishes to share with you. One is July, and a lot of people are stitching stitching Christmas in July. So I wanted to share some Christmas finishes with you. So the way my Christmas is stored is in a closet I have in the basement, and it's a pretty deep closet that holds all the Christmas, and that's where I keep all the decorations. Then I have Christmas trees that are kept in a storage room, and I do have several Christmas trees. So I just pulled out a few things that I could get my hands on. A lot of things are further back in the closet that I can't get to, but I did get this for you. This is Merry Yuletide by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. And you can still get this pattern on her website. It is an older pattern. I think I got this probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I stitched it. I cannot remember what I stitched it on, but this was stitched on a larger count linen because I wanted it as a big throw pillow for my bed. My bedroom has blues and grays, and this is the called for colors, and I just thought it would look great in my bedroom. So I had this pillow professionally finished by Finely Finished, which is Joy Hayward, and she did a phenomenal job with this for me. But I left off the words. I believe it says Merry Christmas and to all a good night, I think is what it says, but I left the words off. But I kept everything else the same. And she stitched it into a really big pillow, and she put these rustic bells on it in that adorable burlap ribbon. And she used a neutral fabric for the back, and she used twine or rope for the trim. And I just love how it turned out. But I have a funny story to tell you about this pillow. So she finished it for me 1 year before Christmas. And so when I got it back, I put it on my bed and went about my business. And even that year, cleaned up after all the, cleaned up my Christmas decorations, put everything away. The next year I pull it out, put it on my bed, and I'm just looking at it like something's not right with that pillow. What's missing? Something's not right. Well, after I looked at it for a few minutes, I realized what it was. And I'm going to give you a minute, and you tell me if you can figure it out, or see if you can figure it out before I tell you. So I was looking at it, and I couldn't figure out what was off about this. And then I noticed it. I forgot to stitch his other boot on this Santa. So he just has one boot. And when I figured it out, of course I wasn't going to take this pillow apart or send it to her and just to stitch it on. And so I emailed Joy and I said, Joy, did you notice that this is missing a boot? And she said, I did not notice that. I would have called you and told you. So not only did I stitch this and left off his boot, which is probably an easy thing to do. I mean, we've all done that kind of thing where you get through some, but this touched someone else's hands and she didn't notice that it was missing a boot either. So I decided to leave it as is. I did not want to take this pillow apart, but that is the story of my one boot Santa that I have, and it is kind of funny, and I love to tell that story. But the reason I'm also telling you that story is, one, I think now it's obvious and you all probably noticed it right away, but someone emailed me or commented on my Summertide Blessings that I was working on and said that she noticed I left something off. So I'll show that to you when I pull out my finishes. But I guess that's something I do. I need to start checking when I'm done to make sure I didn't leave anything off, because that's just not something I want to do again. So this is Merry Yuletide, Brenda Gervais, With Thy Needle and Thread. Her website is Country Stitches Online. I will link it below. You may still be able to find it at, on Etsy or your local needlework store or 123. I haven't looked, but I did look today, and it is still on her website. So Merry Yuletide. I absolutely love it. And another finish that I wanted to show you is, remember a few weeks ago I showed you Humpty Dumpty that Matt's aunt stitched or sewed for him when he was little, Aunt Honey, or Sue Jean is her name, but we call her Aunt Honey. Well, I think I told y'all she made them Christmas stockings. So I pulled these out when I pulled out the Christmas decorations because I keep the stockings on a wall, so it was easy for me to get to. So this was Jennifer's, and we keep it here because she spends Christmases with us. So this is Jennifer's stocking. These were knitted in the early 70s. And then this is Matthew's. And I just love it with the little toy soldier. Isn't that cute? And you can fit a lot of things in this stocking. So those are their stockings that Aunt Honey stitched or knitted for them. And those are such a treasure to have. And my last previous finish I wanted to share with you is the very first quilt I made. This is something I made, I want to say this was 3 years ago, 3 Christmases ago, so maybe coming up on 4 years. I keep saying stitched. I made this quilt after watching Priscilla and Chelsea, so no, it was probably 3 years ago. Priscilla and Chelsea with Stitching with the Housewives, they did a Quilt-As-You-Go quilt, and they were showing it on their Flosstube a couple of years ago. And I had always wanted to learn how to quilt, and that is where I got the idea or the bug to start sewing quilts. So I just got a very inexpensive sewing machine from Joann's and got the materials I needed and made this Christmas quilt. This is the pattern is called Sweet Christmas, and it's by Urban Chicks, which is a Moda designer. And this is a Quilt-As-You-Go jelly roll quilt. And this was made with 10-inch batting squares. And I think I had 2 or 3 jelly rolls, probably 2. And then I added 2.5-inch white strips to help the jelly roll last a little longer or go a little further. And I made this. This is, I was very excited to do this. This is what started it all for me with quilting. And the video, the tutorial that Fat Quarter Shop has on their YouTube channel, I will link it below. Super easy to follow. Definitely a quilt I've made before. I made my sister a quilt using the same method, and love it. So this is one we all pull out every Christmas, and I made another one using charm squares using Sweet Christmas, which is another fabric design or line from Urban Chicks. So I am so happy with how this turned out. It is not, you can definitely tell it was my first quilt. It is not perfect. It's wobbly, it's wonky. It's some of the stitching is coming out where I didn't have enough of a seam allowance. I learned a lot making this quilt, but it was fun, and I kept going and I made more. So I wanted to show this one to you. So I will link that below. I don't know if you can still get the fabric, but if you can, it's on Fat Quarter Shop's website, which is where I got it, and it is called Sweet Christmas by Urban Chicks. So those are all of my previous finishes. So I wanted to jump right in and show you my new finishes that I did this past week. I was busy, and as I said before, when I am close to a finish, I push on through and get it finished. So I have 2 finishes to share with you. One is Summer at Cherry Hill, and the other one is Summertide Blessings. So let's do the smaller one first. So I showed y'all this frame last week that I found at Hobby Lobby, and it was a $6 clearance frame, 8x10 black wood, very rustic looking frame. And I thought it would be perfect for this piece because it has a lot of black in it. So I'm going to put this on a stand so I can go over it with you. Okay, so this is Plum Street Samplers Summertide Blessings, and I am doing Tomato Tuesday every Tuesday with Kim Gavlik with Stitch, etc. We thought it would be fun to do hashtag Tomato Tuesdays since so many designers are using tomatoes in their designs. So we followed that theme with whatever we choose to stitch on Tuesdays. This is one that I've been working on for a while, and I used 32 count Stormy Night Belfast linen. And you can see the modeling on that blue linen is so beautiful for this design because that girl's flying through the air on her crow. So it looks like she's flying through the sky with that blue. So what I did is I changed the black. I used all the called for colors with the exception of 2. I changed the black. It called for mascara or 310, and I changed it to carriage black. And then on her dress, I changed this from a brown, I think it was Havana, to the red. And the red I used for all of the red is chili pepper. So I changed that from the Havana to the red, and I made her belt blue. So she's wearing all red, white, and blue. Now what somebody noticed that I had left out, I had forgotten to stitch the white of these 2 flowers. And they said, oh, I think you may have forgotten to add something to yours. And I certainly did. So thank you so much for pointing that out to me. And then I decided to do a very simple bow, and I just used twine, a black and white ribbon, and I tied those 2 together. And then this is a vintage tomato, and I did the same thing as I did on the sewing mice. I decided to use a small tomato because I'm not hanging this one on the wall. It'll either be on my shelf, or when I get a dresser in here, I will place this on top. And this is probably one I'll leave out most of the year unless I have a lot of other seasonal things out. I'm very happy with how this turned out. This is an 8x10 frame, and I used sticky board for finishing, and I used 2 layers of batting in between the sticky board and the finished piece. And I always use interfacing on the back of my pieces before I finish them. Whether it's a pillow or a frame piece, I always iron interfacing on the back of it. It just gives it a little bit more of a stiffness and substance, and just helps hold it in place. That's how I do it. So this is Plum Street Samplers Summertide Blessings. So that was fun to stitch and to finish, and I can't wait to put it out. My other finish that I had is the Summer at Cherry Hill, Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And y'all have been following me for this for a long time. I've been stitching this since probably March, I believe. This is one that needed a lot of encouraging, and this is why I really enjoy stitch-alongs. I had a lot of support. I've met a lot of people along the way. This has been a fun stitch. And I think I'm gonna have to turn off my light to show it to you, because otherwise there's gonna be a glare. So hold on, let me do that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I decided, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my light back on. I decided to, let me move this over. I decided, I'm having a hard time. Let me hold it back. I decided to frame this piece. I should have probably sent it to a professional framer, but I wanted to give it a try to see if I could frame it on my own. And so I did. I found this frame at Hobby Lobby, and it's an 11x14 frame. And I used foam core, I cut a piece of foam core to match, to fit it. And then I used batting material and wrapped it around, and did not lace it, but I wrapped it. I didn't glue it. So if I ever decide to go back and change it, I can. But for right now, I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to send it to a framer. I didn't want to wait the weeks and weeks to get it back. So if I change my mind, I might do that and send it to a framer at some point. But I just love how she turned out. This was definitely the largest piece I've stitched, the most challenging piece I stitched because I've made so many mistakes. Was giving up hope when I was stitching the tree. Her dress gave me fits. The grass at the bottom was very tedious. So this one had some challenges for me, but I did stitch it on 32 count vintage country mocha. Loved how the linen worked with it. I used the called for colors. I did, except for the red, I changed the red to cherry cobbler. It calls for chili pepper, and this was printed in 2014, and I felt like the dye lot of chili pepper then and now maybe had changed, and I felt like cherry cobbler looked more like what the cover did, and I wanted it to be a true red, so I chose to switch it to cherry cobbler. It did use a lot of red. If you stitch this, I recommend getting a couple of skeins of the same color that you choose, because you don't want to get through the middle of it and run out and realize that you don't have the same dye lot. I stitched it 2 over 2, so I used 2 strands of floss over two strands of linen, and it's beautiful. I can't wait to put it in my living room. This will probably stay on a plate stand, and I have bookshelves in my living room, and it will go on the bookshelves in my living room. But this one truly was a labor of love for me. I had some rough moments with it, but I am so glad I stitched it, and it's just beautiful. Now, back to what I said at the beginning, I know that this is not perfect, and that's okay with me. I'm just so glad to have it finished. I may at some point, like I said, decide to have it professionally framed, but for right now, I'm going to just enjoy it in my house. So I hope you enjoy it too. But thank you for giving me all those words of encouragement and helping me push through it. It was a lot of fun to stitch. So with that, let's move into my haul that I have. As you know, I cannot buy any new patterns, designs. The only thing I can buy between now and the end of September, if I need something like floss or linen to supplement a project that I want to work on or that I am working on, that is all I can buy. Then we made the addendum that we can add blackbird designs to that. So I bought some trim. I went on Etsy because my trim selection is low and I do have some finishes that I want to work on. So I got a lot of different trims. I ordered from Dames of the Needle, and I ordered from Lady Dot. So I got all kinds of chenille. I got mostly chenille from Lady Dot Designs. And this is to go with all different kinds of things I have to finish. And then I got some rickrack from Lady Dot. I'll put both of their shops below. They're on Etsy. And then I got from Dames of the Needle, I got some, I've had this before. This is chenille, and it is, I can't remember the color, but it's a beautiful navy. It's called Miguel's Navy. This rickrack, I have something in a Halloween project in mind for it, and then a blue, and another blue. So I'll link their shops below, but Lady Dot Creates and Dames of the Needle are great places to go to get some finishing trim. And they both ship very fast. Now, I did decide I wanted to get this Blackbird Designs. This is Merry Christmas. Well, what I didn't realize is I already had it. So this is gonna be a giveaway this week. So I did order Merry Christmas. And this is just such a sweet design. And it's not very big, so I will probably stitch this one pretty soon. And that is Blackbird Designs. I don't know if I said that. Then I got, because I had a credit on PayPal, and I kept to my word, and I did not buy any cross stitch, but I wanted to treat myself to a pair of scissors. So I bought myself from Chic Stitchery some Seiju's scissors. And I got the tortoise shell. I've wanted these for a long time and decided that it was a good time to go ahead and get them. They came in this adorable box, beautifully wrapped. It came with this amazing bag, and it's blue. Did she know blue was my favorite color? I love it. Absolutely perfect for me. So I will link her shop below as well. And then I received, because I did not have this from the Loose Feather series. This is Sing a Song of Seasons. And it's blue. And if you can see down here, it has a dog that looks so much like my Scout. So I'm gonna stitch this one and probably frame it in a sweet little frame just like this. And while I was at Hobby Lobby, I found 2 more frames in their clearance section. I'm not kidding. If you're in Hobby Lobby, and Michael's both, go and check out their clearance section. These were both $4.99. And why do they put the stickers on it? It's so frustrating. So, but anyway, $4.99 for these 2. This is going to be perfect for some of the sewing room themed designs that I'm going to work on. With my white cabinets and the blue wall, I could not let this one go for that price, especially. So that is all of my haul this week, which is surprising, right? So let's move on to my whips. I am so excited that in the last week, I emptied 2 project bags. So that means I get to fill 2 project bags this week too. But that's, you gotta look on the bright side. It's hard to see some of these projects come to an end. It's kind of like a good book when you get to the end and you miss those characters that you've been reading about. That's how I'm going to feel. I think I'm going to have some, even though Summer at Cherry Hill was a challenge for me, I do think I'm going to miss stitching it. It was a long time. So now this is what I started working on last week. This is a Blackbird Design Peace Rose. And this is just a small pin keep pillow. And I am almost finished with it. I have been stitching this in the mornings while my son is at practice. And all I have left, I have to finish the little flowers around the border. And my initials go here. And there's a bird that goes here. And that is all I have left to do. And it is such a quick stitch. I cannot remember what linen this is, but I started looking through other linen that I have, and I think this is 32 count, I had it, light mocha. I think this is 32 count light mocha. That's what it looks like to me because I've compared it to some other linen that I know is light mocha in my stash, and I'm pretty sure that's what this is. This is gonna be a great size. I'm going to finish it into a little pillow. I'll probably have this done next week and I'm gonna add it to my shelf, but wonderful size. This would be great as a pin book, pin keep book, or just a little small pillow. I am using all the called for DMC colors, and here's what they look like. Lots of blues and pinks and greens. And there's not a lot of colors in this, just six DMC colors. Very quick stitch, I love it, it's beautiful. My next piece is one I've been working on for a while, and this is a stitch along that I am doing with Kim Gavlik with Stitch Etc. And this is by Little Robin Designs, and this is Clarissa Beaumont. And we are using the hashtag ClarissaBSAL. I'm using all the called for DMCs, which is a lot. And I decided to use 32 count, 32 count Country Mocha. And I did not get any stitching done on this last week because I was really pushing through on Summer at Cherry Hill. But I wanted to show it to you again. Lots of fun colors in this. It's not a challenging design. Very cute. I cannot wait to get to the bottom. With this pattern, it's a PDF download from Little Robin's Designs website. She gives the history of Clarissa Beaumont, which is fun to read. She was 8 years old when she stitched this. And I just love all the animals at the bottom. I think I might jump down and start working on the bottom. I might work my way down and get some of that started. So if you'd like to join us, I'll put the hashtag below too, so you can see that. Now, the other one I've been working on comes out of this book. This is a Blackbird design book called Home for the Holidays. And there are a lot of designs in this book, but I am working on 'Tis the Season. And I have been stitching this since about March. And I am using 32 count Valor Belfast linen. Valor is the color, which is a green. And let me just show you. Oh, let me turn the bird the right side up. I am using all of the called for Bella Soie Classic Colorworks silks, and they are beautiful. This is my favorite silk to stitch with. In the beginning, it took me a while to get used to it, but they're beautiful colors, and they're beautiful on this green. So here's my progress. All I have left is to finish the bird, the cardinal, and then do the words at the bottom. This one I will definitely have professionally framed. This is not one that I will attempt to frame on my own. But this is also the first time I've used this color linen, and I absolutely love it. They have it in pink, and then the blue and the green. Lots of color choices, but this color is Valor. So that is my progress on 'Tis the Season. And this book, if you can still get it, I highly recommend it. There are so many pretty designs in here. Let me show you this one. Of course, they have a lot of little stocking designs. There is Blessing Be Thine in this one. Another one that's in here that I have been wanting to stitch is this little, I think I would stitch that one. And there's one more. I mean, it's very rare that in one of these books, well, not with Blackbirds, but when you buy books with multiple patterns, that you like everything in the book. And this is definitely one of those. Okay, here's this one. This will be another big girl stitch for me if I ever do it. But this one is called Christmas Garden. And so if you're ever wondering where to find Christmas Garden, I know a lot of people have stitched it. It's in this book, Home for the Holidays. Such a beautiful book to have in your collection. My Quaker Christmas stitch along is slowly coming along. I am stitching a Quaker Christmas from Bygone Stitches, and this is a stitch along I'm doing with Artie at the Vintage Stitcher. And it is one that we started on June 1st, and I'm hoping to have mine done by the end of November. It may not happen, that's okay. But this is the design, a Quaker Christmas. I'm using the called for colors, which are Classic Colorworks. And here's my progress from last week. I didn't stitch on this one as much, but since I saw y'all last, I worked on this motif right here, which doesn't look like much, but it required a lot of concentration from me. It's this piece right here. So I am still working my way down. I decided to work from right to left on this one. I don't know, I might mix it up. But the green is called Balsam Fir. That is the Classic Colorworks green. The red is Cupid. And the yellow is Yield Gold. You can use the hashtag QuakerChristmassal. I would love it if you did, and then I can see your progress if you're stitching this. But here are the colors. And they are so pretty. This is 36 count Edinburgh linen, and it's cream. So that is my progress. So very pretty, very relaxing. But it does require a lot of concentration. So I hope you join us. I think what I might start doing is on the 25th of each month, do a special edition Flosstube just on Quaker Christmas. So we could chart progress and maybe talk about Quaker Christmas by Bygone Stitches. There's also a Quaker Christmas 2 if you want to stitch that one instead. I did get to work a little bit on Butterfly Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. And this is another piece, when I have it done, it will be professionally framed. I just love this piece. I am stitching this on 36 count Fog by Picture This Plus. Now, when you see this, you're gonna say, you didn't make any progress on that, but I did, I promise I did. I stitched for about maybe 2.5 hours on this. So I filled in this wing, this portion of the wing. When I saw y'all last, I did not have any of that creamy color filled in. I just had the black outline. So I filled in that wing. I finished outlining the bottom wing, and I did the black detail and started filling in a little bit of the cream. So I got that portion done. So on the design, that is this butterfly. So I'm starting to move along on it. I am using the called for NPI silks. I'm using 1 strand over 2. And I'm using, yes, I said that, all the NPI silks. Very pretty. I can't wait to make more progress on this one. And as you know, I've been working on Modern Folk Embroidery Fruit of Plenty Stitch Along since March. So I am behind. I'm still working on January. If you are not aware, this is a PDF download from Modern Folk Embroidery's website. Every month, the first of the month, Jacob will email you the next month's portion. So by the end of the year, you have this whole pattern stitched. So I discussed with y'all a couple of weeks ago that I messed up on the fruit in the bowl. And I was trying to decide, do I want to rip out all the fruit or just try to make it work? We all decided that I would try to make it work. So I did. I finished filling in the fruit. And I think I did a good job. I'm not a designer, but I think I filled it in okay. So I finished filling in the fruit on this side. That's where I had to create fruit myself. And then I added the vines. So now that I have that problem solved, I will work on the rest of the interior of that motif. I'm using this, I'm using the called for DMC, which is 932 and 3750. This is a design where you can pick any color you want. I just happen to love blue, so I decided to stick with the called for blue that Jacob recommended. So those are the blues that I'm using. And I think it looks great. I'm using 32 count antique white linen. Love the color white because this is a great color combination for me. Very happy with how that's turning out. So I have 2 project bags to fill now. One is a Tomato Tuesday piece. So I have not started this yet. I just decided what I want to do for my Tomato Tuesday. I have chosen Luminous Fiber Arts by Misty Purcell. Counting is hard because, as y'all can see, I make a lot of mistakes because counting is hard for me sometimes. So I am going to start on this It is going to look great in my sewing room. I have decided that, a little update on my sewing room. I'm still waiting on my shutters, and I want to start filling my walls, and I want to fill it with things that I've made, whether it is quilt squares or cross stitch pieces. So I can see this finished in a white frame, and I think it would look great. She also has it finished into a drum on the back, but I really want it as a finished framed piece just so we can see all of it. And that tomato and this bobbin of thread. So I decided I'm gonna go with 32 count Country Vintage Mocha Belfast. And that modeling on here is gonna look great with all of these DMC flosses. I have the called for DMC flosses. Let me hold them up for you. Just so many fun colors. I mean, the greens and the blues and the reds, those are all, let me see if I can do this better. Those are all gonna look so pretty. I cannot wait to start this on Tuesday. I am going to put it in my Dot Dot Goose tomato bag and Luminous Fiber Arts. So cute. Counting is hard. The other piece I've been wanting to do for a long time. I bought this Bonnie and Camille Quilting Bee book from Fat Quarter Shop when it was released. It is a quilting pattern book, but there's also a cross stitch pattern for this piece. So I bought the floss pack, which is just DMC floss, and I had the linen in my stash. It's the 32 count antique white. So with all of these, so it's going to be a nice white with those primary colors, but this is the cross stitch design. And I thought this would be a perfect piece for my sewing room. So that is going to be, since I finished Summer at Cherry Hill, that's going to be my big piece to replace that. And I'm going to put it all in my Nikki's Notables bag, project bag. So those are my 2 new starts. I'm going to start this next week. My goals are to maybe get more finishing done for you for next week. I have that piece rose that will be finished. I will hopefully have it finished into a little pillow for you. And I have some Christmas ornament pieces that I am probably going to finish in July, since to kind of keep the theme of Christmas in July. I'm not doing a lot of Christmas stitching right now, which is unlike me, but I do have a lot of Christmas things that I can finish. That's something I want to work on this month, for the rest of this month. I did have a question. Somebody asked me about Alice. Alice emailed me and she had a question about linen and all the different types of linen and the count and the names and all of that. And so I kind of started making notes, and hopefully this is helpful for Alice, and hopefully this is helpful for some of you who have been confused about it as well. So there are many different types of fabric and linen and that you can use to do your cross stitch pieces on. The most common is Aida. Aida is perfect for all skill levels, all ages, but it's primarily used as a beginner fabric. But I still use Aida. I still have friends that use Aida who've been stitching their whole life. Aida is wonderful for so many different pieces. Aida comes in 6 count, 18, 11, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Those are all the Aida counts. Linen comes in 18 through 46 count. Linen gives you a little bit more of a primitive or old-fashioned look, whereas Aida is a little stiffer. Well, it is stiff, and it gives you more of a crisp, newer look. 28 count and 32 count are the most common in linen. However, you know, I know and I hear a lot more people using 36 and 40 count lately. On linen, when you stitch over 2, a 32 count piece becomes a 16 count piece because you're dividing it in half. A 28 count piece becomes a 14 count piece. So if you stitch it over 1, it makes it small. If you stitch it over 2, it makes it bigger. So now let's break down all the different types of linen. So let's start with 25 count. Dublin linen, it comes in 25 count. Mostly neutral colors, beautiful linen. 28 count is referred to as cashel. Cashel linen comes in 28 count. Also another linen that comes in a lot of different colors. Belfast linen is 32 count. It has probably more color options than the cashel in Dublin. It's 100% linen. It's softer than the others. It's a good standard linen. I like it the most. And with any linen, the more you use it, the softer it gets. So if it's a stiff linen and you're working with it a lot, it will soften up, but Belfast linen is already soft. So if you're using that and you're used to an Aida and you can't get your tension right, you probably need something with a stronger spring to it, or like your hoop or your Q-snaps need to be tightened so that it makes the linen tighter for you. Let's see, the next one would be Edinburgh. Edinburgh is 36 count linen, and Newcastle is 40 count. Now, there are other fabrics that are not linen and they're not Aida. You have even weave, you have fiddler's cloth, you have Davos. Davos is like an Aida. Well, fiddler's cloth is more like an Aida. Davos is, I believe how it's made is they take yarn threads and make it, it only comes in an 18 count fabric. But that's what I use for the Prairie Schooler Santas, is the Davos. Joblin comes in 20 count, 25 count, 28 count. It's a nice soft fabric. It's a lot like Aida, but it's softer, and it is a blend. It is a cotton rayon blend. It also comes in a lot of colors. Lugana, you'll hear people say that they use Lugana a lot. I know Lori Holt does use a lot of Lugana. It's heavy and it's more versatile. It's a lot like Aida. Actually, yeah, it's a lot like Aida, and it is also a cotton blend. It comes in 25 count, 28 count, and 32 count. It's heavy but soft, and it's easy to count on like an Aida is. One thing I do want to tell you about is to be careful with dye lots. If you find a linen, it's just like with your overdyed floss. If you find a color you like, that dye lot is not going to be the exact same every time you get it, because it's just, you cannot mass produce or reproduce that same dye lot each time. So there will be some variations in that color. So, and a lot of these people who, like Fabrics by Stephanie, when she does her own dyeing, she'll tell you that each one is different. I mean, she can dye one and do the next one, and they're not going to be the same, which that's what I like about them. They're very different. The over dyed look gives it, I think, a more worn look, a more primitive look, just gives it more depth and character, and that's what I like about over dyed linens, and that's also why I like variegated floss. So hopefully, I hope I didn't make that more confusing. I think what I'm going to do, I've been telling y'all I'm going to start a blog, and I am pretty much close to having it done. I think that's going to be a blog post, because that comes up a lot. There are so many different fabric choices and different sizes, and it can be overwhelming. But what I have found is if you are wanting to make the transition from Aida to a linen, but you don't want to jump right into it, Lugana is a great option for that. So try stitching on Lugana and then go from Lugana to linen, and that might help. Just keep in mind the tension is different, and that's what most people say is so hard for them to switching to a linen. So just tighten it up on a hoop or your Q-snaps. So I hope that helped. Alice, thank you so much for asking that question. The other question I had, somebody wanted to know why I use stickers in my book of days. So let me clarify what the book of days is. And I promise not to talk about this every time. But Book of Days is produced and put and distributed by Needlework Press. They are located in Arizona. They started this journal so that people could keep track of what they are cross-stitching. So it's basically a calendar that I use just for my cross-stitch projects. I use the stickers purely as decoration. That was the question. Why do you use stickers? Are they just for decorations? And it is. It's just to add some fun color, and some people have themes each month. I like to I do more themes per day. So like this is my June, and I do not have neat handwriting. This is my July. So for instance, in July, I finished Summer at Cherry Hill, and then I finally finished Summer at Cherry Hill. Thursdays are my Flosstube days. So I just chart every day what I'm working on. And there are quotes in each month. There's just in the back, it has a place for you to keep notes. It has a grid if you want to do charting out your initials or something. Here's a place to put addresses or websites that you want to keep up with. Here's a monthly planning at a glance. There's even patterns for alphabet and numbers. So it is just a great little journal to just help you keep track of all of your projects. That is all it is. And then I just go online on Etsy and I get all my stickers. So that's just the fun thing that I do with my book of days. This is the first time I've done one. I started it in March. I'm having so much fun with it. I'll do it again next year. So you can get this from your local needlework shops. I believe some are still available. I know the Attic still has some. I believe Keepsakes in Ohio has some. And I would assume in the fall they'll have 2022 come out. So that is hopefully clears up Book of Days. Let's move on to giveaways. So there are a few things that I need to clarify with the giveaway. I hope that y'all are enjoying the giveaways. I think it's fun to give you all a little bit of something that to just to keep it, just to hopefully grow your stash. And I find it fun as a viewer of other Flosstubers. I like to go through and read the comments. You never know what you're going to learn. Like if I ask a question about where you like to spend your stitching money, hopefully you can go back through there and maybe see, of stores and websites that you have not heard of before. That's my purpose of having these questions to answer. But it's also a way for me to thank you for watching my channel, and I hope that you enjoy that part of the show. So I want to go through a couple of rules that I need to clarify. One, you need to be 18 because I'm going to ask you for your address to send you your prize. So you must be 18 years old. You must be a subscriber. You must like the video and answer the question and comment in the questions below, in the comment section below. Please don't use the word giveaway. And if you do not respond to me or email me within 1 week, you're going to forfeit your prize, and it'll go back into the stack of giveaways for me to share with someone else. So within 1 week of me announcing your name, please email me. My email is below, but it's theproperstitcher@gmail.com. And I film on Thursdays. So Thursday to Thursday is when is the time frame that we have to work with. So with that being said, let's jump into the winners from last week. I had quite a bit last week, lots of comments, and thank you all for answering where you like to spend your stitching money. I like to ask that question about once a month because I like to just give shout outs to stores and let people know where you spend your money so they can go online or to those stores and do the same. So the first one I have from JBW Designs. Judy Whitman from JBW Designs sent me a packet full of some of her beautiful designs. She also has a Flosstube channel. I will link it below. But last week I added this little bundle This goes to Ocean Girl. Ocean Girl, you won the 2 JBW design patterns. Glinda Northcutt is the winner of number 2, the Scarlet House Schoolhouse Sampler. Glinda Northcutt. Flea Market Flowers goes to Brandy Stoker. Brandy with an I, Stoker. The Floral Motif Sampler goes to Kelly Perry. The Early Christmas Morning Blackbird Design goes to Christy with a Y, Christy and the letter T, Christy T. And then Blackbird Designs, Eleanor Rigby and Sweet Baby. This goes to Carol with an E, Webster, Carol Webster. All right, everyone, y'all email me before next Thursday. Please tell me what you won and send me your address. So for this week's giveaway, I have 5 items. Another bundle from JBW. Thank you so much, Judy. These are 2 Christmas designs. You have I Saw 3 Ships Christmas Ornament. This is a Sing of Song Christmas series, and Christmas in the Round. That's number 1. So if please list the number that you want so that I can enter you for that giveaway. So just number 1, number 2, the number, please don't write it out or spell it out, and use 1, 2, 3, 4 and answer the question. I'll be thinking of a question for you to ask. But number 1. Number 2 is by Pineberry Lane, and this one is Marie Drenette 1863. It's an antique reproduction. Super cute. A viewer sent me in some of these to use as giveaways. Number 3 is Blue Ribbons Designs, Established with Love. So that's number 3. Number 4 is a navy blue paddle or wooden board from Stitch Etc. Stitch Etc. is owned by my friend Kim Gavlik. She makes these wonderful wooden products, and she has other items on her page. You can purchase directly from her on her Facebook page, and I'll link that below as well. But this is the perfect size for smalls or for an ornament, or some of those Brenda Gervais red, white, and bloom, or a Christmas ornament. Perfect size. So that's number 4. Number 5 is My Mistake is Your Gain. Merry Christmas from Blackbird Designs is number 5. All right, so what question are you going to ask? Okay, so I think let's ask this question. What is the most challenging cross-stitch piece or quilt that you ever worked on? And tell me a little bit about it. Did you finish it? Do you have it in your house? Did you give it as a gift? So what is your most challenging cross-stitch piece? So that is your question for this week. Comment below. As always, don't hesitate to email me with any questions you may have. I am almost to 4,000 subscribers, and I have some pretty amazing giveaways still in my stash to give away. I have some project bags from some wonderful project bag makers and vendors on Etsy that I would love to give away as prizes. And just, I'm having so much fun, and I hope that you all are enjoying my weekly Flosstube. It's just been such a great journey, and I can't believe I'm already to 15 episodes. I think I'm gonna have a special edition whip parade this weekend, because you know I have more whips than what I show you every week. So I think I'm gonna do something like that. I think it might be fun to share that with you. But until I see you all again, I will see you next Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you get some wonderful stitching time in this week, and have a great week. Thank you.